Well, the Taliban is back. They never really left, right? The other JV team, remember? That's what Obama called ISIS. He said ISIS was JV, and then ISIS went on to take over most of Iraq. Well, the Taliban is back, and they're in charge and about to overrun Afghanistan. So when asked whether or not Afghanistan could turn into another Vietnam, here's what Biden had to say. This was just 4 weeks ago, mind you. He said, "You had entire brigades," he said, quote, "breaking through the gates of our embassy. 6, if I'm not mistaken. The Taliban is not the South, the North Vietnamese army. They're not remotely comparable in terms of capability. There's going to be no circumstance where you see people being lifted off the roof of an embassy in the United States from Afghanistan. It's not at all comparable at all." And he said, actually, there was video, and I was thinking that's what we had. He said just like, a week ago in video that, no, that's not at all what we're going to be seeing with Afghanistan. Except now, that's exactly what we're seeing with Afghanistan. That was pretty fast. A month later, the Afghan security forces are in full retreat. The entire country is plunging into chaos and a humanitarian crisis that looks absolutely unavoidable. Jen Psaki, thinking the Taliban negotiates and is open to being pressured by the international community, said this, watch.
The Taliban also has to make an assessment about what they want their role to be in the international community.
Didn't they tell everybody that already, though, by being terrorists? Just thought it's a question. Now they're talking about the Taliban having a seat at the table in the international community. That's the Biden administration's, that's the Biden doctrine. The radical Islamic militia that aided and abetted Osama bin Laden, who about almost 20 years ago, here just coming up next month, flew passenger jets into high rises, into the World Trade Center in New York, into the Pentagon. You think that they care what you think of them? You think they want to join the table of the international community and break some bread? No, they don't. They don't care about the veiled threats about international community tables. They don't care. This is why chaos ensues when Democrats take over. This is crazy. No one fears navel-gazing progressives who are not at all a credible threat to anyone but themselves. It's like when you play poker. If you suspect the other player has a weak hand, you're going to take risks. You're emboldened. You call bluffs, or you bluff your opponent. You go on the offensive because you know that your opponent isn't going to take any risks at all. They've essentially already folded. And that's what the decision, the manner in which we are withdrawing from Afghanistan by September 11th, kind of ironic, given that's the whole date that started the war on terror, right? It means you've already telegraphed your play. So the enemy is emboldened and on the move. I mean, you think the Taliban hasn't been just watching America like all our enemies and waiting us out? They know the administration is busy with white rage and CRT, wrapping the Capitol in 8-foot-high fences, talking every day like the biggest threat to America is Trump voters and climate change. And climate-changing Trump voters. The Taliban sees this, and they know it's basically a license to do whatever the heck they want. They'll let us fight over pronouns while they build up munitions and take everything that we hastily leave behind. They don't have to worry about optics, right? This current administration, busy condemning its own country daily. They've had more nasty things to say about America, like people that they disagree with politically, than the Taliban at this point, this administration. Talking about how absolutely unequitable it is, how evil the police are, how half the country are a bunch of domestic terrorists, racists, sexists, which means if you're an actual terrorist like the Taliban, life is great, right? While America's navel-gazing with generals like Mark Milley saying, I would like to learn more about white rage, vetting our own soldiers for supposed extremism, which is just basically a differing political view anymore. It means that it's a fine time to waltz into Kabul and take it over. The Biden administration, they're not going to do a thing because they don't view it as their fault really, or their responsibility. I mean, come on, take a look, man. President Biden said to himself just back a year ago, watch, flashback.
Don't you bear some responsibility for the outcome if the Taliban ends up back in control and women end up losing the rights?
No, I don't. Zero responsibility. Mm-hmm. The responsibility I have is to protect America's national self-interest and not put our women and men in harm's way to try to solve every single problem in the world by use of force.
You know how Gollum's true personality would come out when you would try to take his precious? We got a little bit of that there with Joe Biden when he said, no, I don't. Of course, now we took 2,500 soldiers out. Now we got to send 3,000 soldiers back. And anybody who understands math knows that 3,000 is greater than 2,500. They have to go back to Afghanistan to ensure a safe exit of our embassy and to have it all evacuated and make sure everything's out, I guess, by 9/11. But no, now the embassy is in peril. But it's not President Biden's problem. How dare you? Besides, he's busy blaming the plague of the coronavirus on his own unvaccinated citizens rather than the Chinese Communist Party. There is so much more tearing down of America to do. The president doesn't have time to own the disaster or even acknowledge it, really. He went to Camp David and wouldn't even give a statement to the press. Now he's got to take a little weekend vacation. I hope everyone at the embassy in Afghanistan can hang on till then. See, the thing is we have the finest soldiers in weaponry. And I have a lot of people, a lot of my friends on the right that say, well, there's a reason why, Dana. It's because of the presence of the American military that we had 20 years of decentralized Taliban. That's a testament to the men and women who serve. It is not a testament to the military leaders who talk about white rage or the intelligence agencies who are too busy investigating private citizens for using their own private free time to work on a politician's campaign, as opposed to making sure that we're prepared in the event, like, oh, I don't know, the Taliban comes back and tries to take over all these provincial cities in Afghanistan. This is a case of an administration that's all talk and no bite. I bet you got to put the teeth into bite, right? The worst possible foreign policy combo, and everybody knows it. For example, if you suspect a virus came from a lab run by your enemy and you do nothing about it, no sanctions, nothing, then don't be surprised if your enemy, in this case, the Chinese Communist Party, makes another more aggressive move. Look, thugs only understand force. So sorry to the administration, but the Taliban is not coming to the UN for a cappuccino and a croissant to talk to you about equal rights for trans people. They're not looking for clout or clicks. Unless, of course, you want to hand them some for free at your own peril. No, the Taliban are coming for the innocent in Afghanistan. And then when they're done with them, who else will they target? Because they definitely don't fear us. And that's because we have a weak, unserious administration that doesn't inspire fear in our enemies, nor peace through strength at all.